difference. So I would suggest go in business attire. What does that mean? Do I have to have a suit? No, but I have to have a nice sweater. I tend to wear dresses because I'm comfortable in that. Lots of folks aren't. The young man here definitely won't be comfortable in a dress. Right? It's like, oh yes, please. No. But you're going to dress reasonable. If you're a young man, it's easier to talk about gentlemen first. They're going to wear a button-down shirt with a tie. Do you have to wear a jacket? No. But you do have to have a button-down shirt with a collar. Stereotypically, that's what we like here in the U.S. For women, you can wear a sweater, skirt, and a blouse. You can wear a suit sort of dress. Don't wear sandals. We don't need to see your toes. Because when you go in the hospital, do we want you to have open-toed shoes? Absolutely not. It's too high a risk for you. So go in thinking about where you're going. Okay? So that helps. Be well-groomed. Does that mean you have to have a certain haircut? No, you don't. Does that mean you have to have your hair up? No, it doesn't. Does that mean I can't wear earrings? No, it doesn't. Does it mean I can't wear jewelry? No, that's not what it means. It's be fairly conservative. It's my basic word of advice. Is there one color better than the other? You can get a book called What Color's My Parachute. There's several other items out there. You can read those. I personally haven't found that makes a bit of difference. As long as I'm well groomed and look like I took some thought into being respectful to come in and do an interview. So that's my words there. Your attitude is huge. So you need to have a sense of commitment to the interview. So how does one do that? So you never speak poorly of a prior employer or other employees. Well, I left Penrose Hospital because you know what? I had an employee that worked with me was just rude, and I had to get out of there. So I'm sitting here at Memorial. Am I likely going to hire you? Not so much. What makes you think we're going to fit any better? So be very careful not to put down anyone else. I'm the best in my class and everyone else wouldn't be worth hiring. Red flag, not hiring. Right? So think about presenting yourself in the best possible attitude. The other thing I would say is if you're sitting in a chair, sit up with good posture. So if you're slumping, laying down, I know you'll but posture is real telling. You should look alert. You're not going to sit here in the interview. Yeah, I think I might want that job. Yeah, sort of. Really? Yeah, I think could be. You want to be here sitting. I always say sit on the edge of your chair. Sit up straight, look like you care, look like you're engaged. Will your back hurt after it? Maybe. You'll survive it. But look like you want to be there. Why do I tell you that? Because I've interviewed several folks to have this laid-back attitude. I want somebody that's going to be involved, that wants to learn what you're doing, has to be engaged. So that's what I mean by that. Time planning. Don't be late. So if you're not, you can't, the excuse of, well, traffic was way worse than I thought it would be. Plan ahead. My rule is get there 30 minutes before your appointment to wherever the facility is. Do you have to go to the interview spot then? No. We all have coffee shops. We have gift shops. We have waiting rooms that you can kill time in. Get there so you put yourself together. You go to the bathroom. Kind of think, okay, I really did get here. Parking was a nightmare. I had to walk a mile to get here, but I'm on time. Okay, so that's really important. Plan to you check in for the interview generally about 5 minutes before your interview. What I recommend is don't check in more than 15 minutes before your interview, because some employers will read that as you're being disrespectful for the folks that are interviewing prior to you. So I always just say, give them that window, no more than 15, no closer than 5 minutes. So that you're showing, I'm here, I'm on time. So that's kind of there. Transportation, plan on whatever transportation, have a backup plan. Taxi cabs work just fine, right, depending on which area you live in. If you live in Monument like me, taxis aren't quite so easy to come by. I generally have a neighbor that I could borrow a car from in a pinch. So kind of think, how am I getting there? If I live in a metro area, where will mass transit get me there? How do I plan for that? Because they don't need to hear how you're hurried, how you're worried, how you're all of those things. Plan for child care. Bringing a child to the interview with you is never a good idea. Bringing a spouse with you to an interview is an absolute don't do. We're not interviewing the family, we're interviewing you. I don't care what your spouse looks like. Don't care what their questions are. You're the employee. So try to think in that way. Can they come to the facility with you? Sure, there's plenty of waiting rooms. But just don't take them to the interview with you. And family status should not be discussed in an interview. Whether I've got a disabled child at home is a fair question for an interview. It's against federal law, actually, to question that. Do you plan to have a baby? Doesn't make a difference. Do I have an alternative lifestyle? Who do I sleep with? Doesn't make any difference. Okay, those are off-limits questions. Be prepared to talk about, because there's never been an interview that I've done or participated in that they haven't asked me, what do I see as my greatest strength and why? The why part is the most important. I show up on time. I'm punctual. I'm compassionate. I'm caring. And the next question always is, so what's your greatest weakness? And how do you overcome it? The question is, how do you overcome it? That's the important thing. So if you were to say, I never have good answers to these, but let's say I say, I tend to be a little compulsive. So I really double check my charting, but I don't stay late and cause overtime on my unit. As soon as you tell me you're compulsive and you double check all your charting, I'm thinking, wow, how much overtime is this going to cost me? Right? So I do it to make sure I don't make mistakes, but I make sure I clock out on time. So I've gotten rid of their concern that I'll be there forever. Weakness might be, I'm a real perfectionist, so I look up everything. How many times? Right? And student chess would make you look it up a bazillion times. That's a weakness, but what would make it a strength? Or how would I overcome that? I look things up so I don't make mistakes, so I don't double do my work. I have it right the first time. When I have questions, I ask people on the unit. So if I were told to give a medication I didn't know anything about, and I don't have time to look it up, I would ask a teammate who has given it before to give it this time until I had time to look it up.